much the same way my colleagues have already spoken to the issue. We will not be working with our congressman when it comes to addressing issues.
Will you step down?
I will not.
Today, in keeping up with Santos, leaders of the Nassau County Republican Party called for the first man on the moon, George Santos, to resign from office over his countless lies to voters and fabrications about his personal life.
Much the same way my colleagues have already spoken to the issue. We will not be working with our congressman when it comes to addressing issues. I have over 40 villages in my Senate district, 2 towns and a city. And each and every one of them have told me that they will not be working with Congressman, with Santos. That speaks volumes to where we are today. The inability of this person to actually exercise and perform the duties as a member of Congress and as a representative of nearly 750,000 people here in Nassau County. The people of Nassau County deserve better. We, as a community, need to come together. And frankly, as we understand, it is probably impossible to shame the shameless. It is probably impossible for us to get someone who has no shame to do what is right. But here we stand united in sending a message that until he is removed, by one way or another, we will move forward. We will continue to perform our services and our responsibilities as elected officials here in Nassau County.
George Santos' campaign last year was a campaign of deceit, lies, and fabrication. He deceived the voters of the 3rd Congressional District. He deceived the members of the Nassau County Republican Committee, elected officials, his colleagues, candidates, his opponents, and even some of the media. His lies were not mere fibs. He disgraced the House of Representatives, and we do not consider him one of our congresspeople. Today, on behalf of the Nassau County Republican Committee, I am calling for his immediate resignation.
But while there have been a slew of comments from Republicans who care not for what Santos stands for, lies, diatribe, deceit, and an outstanding volleyball record.
To happen before the House leadership, you're part of that, joins the calls for Santos to resign.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Andrea. I don't think he should be here, that's for sure, but there's a process in place that has to apply equally to all members from both parties and both chambers. And that's a House Ethics Committee, as your panel just pointed out. To the extent that there's concerns about how long that would take, we should just have an expedited review. There's got to be a system in place that's consistently applied across the board. But I, for one, do not think he should be serving here.
I mean, there should have been, arguably, he should not have been sworn in. And if there weren't such a tight margin and a tight speaker's vote, he probably wouldn't have been sworn in. You would have gotten rid of this problem.
Well, again, House Ethics there's a system that we have to follow because you can't have inconsistent processes when situations like this arise. His conduct was egregious. I personally don't think he should be here, but I think the Ethics Committee has to do their work. It should be done quickly, and they should return to the House with their findings, and then we act.
But newly appointed Speaker of the Republican Party, 16 times a charm Kevin McCarthy, well, he was as spineless as you can imagine when asked if Santos should resign.
County GOP called on him to resign today. Does that affect your thinking at all? What do you intend to do about Congressman Santos?
I try to stick by the Constitution. The voters elected him to serve. If there is a concern and he has to go through the ethics, we'll let him move through that. But right now, the voters have a voice in the decisions, not where people pick and choose based upon what somebody's press has.
Would you,
so he will continue to serve.
are you going to take any action against him at this point? Are any of these allegations acceptable to you?
What are the charges against him?
Well, I mean,
is there a charge against him? In America today, you're innocent until proven guilty.
And is anyone surprised? And it is with this that I simply won't hold my breath to see if Republicans oust Santos from their party, because in all honesty, I'm actually more surprised that they haven't already made him chairperson for the Ethics Committee.
And George Santos appears to be starring in the sequel to Catch Me If You Can. And it's not even January 3rd. The circus has already come to town. Chaos, crisis, confusion, and craziness versus Democrats who deliver for the American people.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.